Thank you. I think thank you, Aru, for the question. If there's any question you have about both the content as well as the logistics or the venue, or what are the requirements, or what is it about, we're happy to answer.
I have so many questions, but I'm going to let others ask first. First off, are we like, how many on here are not part of the leadership team or the people, or, the organizers? Is it just like 3, 4 people, or?
I can see 8.
Oh, okay.
More have registered for it, and I'm imagining they will join us as and when they can.
Okay, great.
Maybe you can ask your first question. How are the two parts different?
Yeah, that's from Shilpi. Oh.
Yeah, Shilpi. So like I said just now, the mentoring and assessment is for those candidates who are who are going through their pre-assessment, who have reached a certain stage in the journey of their certification journey, and who have a sense that this is one stage. You have the registration for certification, that is the first stage. The second is the pre-assessment stage, where they will be presenting sessions, there will be conversations with them, and they will be organizing it and planning and designing the days themselves. And the rest of the community will be there supporting them in different ways. And so at the moment, there are 7 people who have now have the intention of going through their pre-assessment. So that will be focused on certification. And the people those, if you have any interest or any curiosity about what is this process, it's different from taking an exam, which is misconception I had when I first came in. I said, I'm not doing any more exams in my life, but I was told that by this very person, Kirsten over here, at that time, and I remember her words so clearly as it here in my ears, as if she's speaking to them right now, to me right now, which is that it's not an examination. You grow into certification. So when you're seeing that growth and you're seeing how the process is held, both by the community and by the assessors and trainers present, it's a very different experience. I think there are a couple of people who were here for the last one, so they could also add to it. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my laptop. It's like it's creaking. Yeah. I hope it's not too much of a disturbance.
It's better now.
Well, okay. And I'll come to the second question. The second part, which is the convention, we will have sessions for the community will be larger. There are people who want to experience NVC for the first time. There are people who want to continue the experience of NVC, and there are people who are, on the edge of deciding whether they want to go in for certification or not. And it's a larger thing. There'll be trainer sessions. We have all the trainers will offer sessions. There are morning sessions, evening sessions. And somewhat, if any of you have been to an international intensive training, it's more or less designed on the same framework as an international training, IIT. Are the assessors of those in pre-assessment on the leadership team? Could you say what you mean by the leadership team?
Thank you, Sudha. Yeah, so I am a, a candidate for for training, and I was really interested in the mentorship and assessment part in terms of like getting feedback from trainers to support the portfolio. And so I guess my question is if those who are on that track already are in relationship with assessors who are going to be there on the team, or if you're registered with a different assessor, are there opportunities to receive feedback from trainers who will be at this training? Is that clear?
Yes, that's clear. What I'm hearing you ask is that supposing you are a registered candidate is what I'm gathering. Is that, yeah, and you would like feedback from the trainers, and will there be room for that during the designing and the planning of it? Um, I would say yes, and that you can also find room during the convention days to have sessions in the evenings where you can invite those assessors and trainers to be part of your offering. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that there's also a question from Aru, which is how is the convention different from an IIT?
Would anybody else like to answer that? Ranjitha, Kirsten.
I'm happy to try to answer, and I'm on a very weak and sporadic internet connection, so I keep my camera off. And I think there are a couple of differences between IIT and a convention. One is that the convention is a few days shorter than the 9 days of an IIT, and it's organized by local organizers and not by CNVC. And other than that, I think what I see is that the daily structure and how offerings are shared has a lot in common with an IIT, that is about living together, living the process of NVC. Of course, we also have learning, and practice, but also having breakfast together and seeing each other being tired and maybe grumpy in the evening and lightening up next morning after a good night's sleep. And this, what I call living together, is for me a way of integrating NVC and deepening my own skills. How do I navigate myself in a world where there are different things happening around me? I might be affected by somebody, I might be triggered from someone, and there's a gift to work on my triggers and learn and go deeper with myself. And all these skills that I call transforming the way I see the world into a nonviolent approach to the world. Nonviolent with myself, nonviolent with others. So these will be similar in an IIT and in a convention. So did you get the answer you wanted to have? The information you wanted to have?
Yeah, yes, thank you. And that leads to another question is so will all of these days count towards our certification, in-person days, and like how many days does each one count towards?
Yes. They count for the days that they are, and they count any training with a certified trainer count.
Yeah, that was also always confusing for me. Like in the IIT, I think we just counted as 9 days or something. We don't have to count the number
Yeah.
of sessions, right?
No. So it's just the days.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If you're there, if you're there for both things, it'll possibly be more days than an IIT. Vidur is the mathematician here, so he can help me with this. M&A is 6 days?
Yes, M&A is 6 days. The convention is 5 days.
5 days. So
So
it's
for
11
those,
days.
yes.
Great.
That math I could get.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also see your question. Would the other assessors join from Zoom? I'm not clear which other assessors. Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted a
You-
clarification?
Yeah, you asked this question. Would the other assessors join from Zoom? When?
Oh, okay. So Lisa was asking. So Lisa and I are both in the same certification
Ah.
pod under
Mm.
Susanna Warren is our assessor. So I think she was, wondering like if she does a pre-assessment, or if I did, then, would Susanna be able to join over Zoom to watch it or something like that? Or how does that work?
I don't think we have an arrangement for Zoom for anybody to join Zoom. So yeah, you may offer sessions, but I wouldn't call it your pre-assessment.
So, okay. So it won't be yeah. We'd have to find out if she's going. Thank you.
Hi, can I ask a question here, please?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
hi. So I'm a friend of Vidur's, and he's been talking to me about NVC for about a year and a half now. And my curiosity, I mean, I know a little bit about NVC from Vidur and our conversations. I have 2 points of curiosity. One is, why does getting to know NVC better or engaging with the NVC curriculum better require a convention or a program or stepping away from your daily life? Because everybody doesn't have the luxury of being able to do so. And secondly, I'm sorry I missed who it was who was talking about triggers, etc. But I think most of your triggers are around, your daily life environment and around stemming from people you engage with, and not from people you probably meet at a convention and such like. Right. So for me, testing a theory or testing a practice in real life is quite important. And we all perform very well in situations that are a little bit more controlled, such as a convention. So why would we step away and perform well or learn something and then and come back into real life and face that challenge and then again have to step away into a convention to relearn? That's something I'm very curious about.
Ranjitha, would you like to take that?
Thank you, Sudha. And yes, I can speak to that. So I think the big benefit of going to an event like the convention is it's what Kirsten said. We get to live together. We get to live with other people who've made a commitment to practicing nonviolent communication. And that I think sort of fast tracks the learning. At least it did for me, because of course there can be learning in one-day workshops, practice group, all of that. And at the end of those, I come back home. The rest of the world hasn't made a commitment to be to practice NVC in a way. So it's easy for me to fall off the wagon when I do that. But when I'm here, I'm surrounded by people, which means there are so many reminders and so many opportunities to learn that it becomes, it's almost like it becomes more powerful in a way. It reminds me of the first time I went to a meditation retreat, and my focus was so sharp because all of the distractions fell away. The environment was in a way set up for me to focus on this and this alone. And I think that does a lot to the learning, to how much we can learn and take away from there. Anything you'd like to add, Sudha and Kirsten?
Sudha,
Kirsten, would you like to
you want to add something?
After you. Okay.
Yeah, so I like this question very much of when I'm in an intensive training, how do I retain what I learn when I come back home? And that's an ongoing learning curve for me. that I take maybe 2 steps forward in a training, and then I come back home and take 1 step backwards, or 2 or 3. So for me, it's to welcome that this is an ongoing thing, to unlearn my own old habits and to learn a way of being in the world and a way of interacting with other people that comes from the heart, from a more natural place in me, where it's actually love for my neighbor instead of fighting with my neighbor or my family or whatever it is. Believing that we all have a heart that wants to connect. So does this answer in any way your question? Or Sudha, you want to add something?
I think it answers a bit of my question. I think my question is that, anything that you learn, unless you apply it and it passes the test of application, it's theory. At least that's how I look at things that I've learned in my life. We could read a lot about driving, and you could drive very well in a very organized city, but then you come to a city where you're not organized, and then that's where your actual skill of driving, comes to be tested. And I think if that's the city that you live in, that's where you have to practice over and over and over. And that's where I feel a little bit befuddled about. I mean, I appreciate the importance of having a learning environment and then using that environment the very best to thrive. But I would still wonder why I would need to step away from. For example, I work in the area of finance. I can't step away from markets and then say I'll learn about markets and then I'll come back and apply markets and then I'll step away from markets. I have to learn on the go, right? I have to apply on the go. And that stepping away sounds like a luxury that I probably don't have in my day-to-day life at this point in time. So if I had to engage, what would be, and if it required stepping away from where I am, then probably that's not the time and place for me yet. And maybe it will be, say, years later. But I just think, everybody does not have the luxury of the time, and secondly, the finances that it takes to step away and then say, oh, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work, maybe I'll apply 10%. Those are luxuries that not everybody has access to. And then I'm wondering if in that way we make it a little bit more elitist as a group or as a community, because eventually you have to love your neighbor, whether you've learned to love your neighbor through NVC or any other way, because that's the only way to survive and thrive in the real world.
Sudha, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
I actually would like to add something to
Yes,
you,
yes.
Himali,
Yeah.
about this.
Go ahead, Kirsten. Kirsten, we can't hear you.
So I wanted to add something to Himali.
Yes, please.
Because I like your question about is this for the elite only, or how is it? And I like to share that I like how many online offerings we also put on some of them for free, some of them for a smaller fee. And there are things like the bodily integration of the nonviolent approach to myself that is more difficult to do online. So sometimes people study online for some years, and then they are more ready to benefit more directly from an in-person meeting where you can work more engaging with the body. So it depends on where you are on your learning journey. And the more you have learned before you come to an in-person, I would say the more you get out of it. So that's one way of answering your question. I like to hear your response, Himali.
Thank you. That's helpful. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll add a very small piece to it. I love your analogy to finance, and I think what came to me at that time was the image of the simulator when the pilot is learning. It's not the real thing. At the same time, it gives you a lot of confidence that I can go out. It becomes a part of my muscle memory. that I can go out in the world and practice. And there can be no shortcut without the practice. The practice, practice, practice as much as possible. So for me, I think that would be the value of having an in-person. And we keep coming back after having gone out because it's like nourishment, I would say. It's like drawing on each other's energy and sharing of experiences, which makes it very, very meaningful and deep. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sudha, you're on mute if you're saying something.
No, I'm not saying anything, but thank you. Thank you for all your explanation.
I wanted to say something. Can I, as a participant?
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that as somebody who's also fairly new to understanding NBC Himali, I wanted to share that while this is going to be whatever we learn is going to be surely applied and practiced in the real world. Um, our surroundings, we are so conditioned to different ways and habituated to different ways of responding that if when we go to the real world and we want to practice only in the real world, we will really it's very difficult in the beginning because the responses coming from the other people around us are not what we have what we have come across when we have practiced. So when we role play and we see that how am I going to respond when the other person is not going to respond the way it's going to come in a setting which is made like this, we are able to practice more and make our understanding so much stronger that we are able to do it as a single person in that moment as well when we are in the real world. So that practice only it may happen in the online settings. It may happen, in person in such conventions, but that's what makes our practice stronger to be able to apply it in the real world. That's how I see this.
Thank you, Shilpi. Aru, do you have any logistical questions? Maybe it's time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a notepad with a bunch of questions written. I just copied and pasted that. Sorry if it's not fully legible. But if you want, I could read it out loud. So is there much planned on the opening and closing days? I've noticed for, people internationally, for even like a IIT, I don't see a lot of consideration about like flights coming in and out. So like something will start at say noon on the first day and flights may not get in until late that day. So if we fly in the day before or leave the day after, will the accommodations include that? Like, because if I'm coming from the US, I would probably need to fly in at least one day early. There's jet lag and all that stuff. And then same with going out. So
Vidur?
Yeah. So Aru, thank you for that question. And I'm one of the organizers, and the logistics is usually my field where I handle these kinds of things. So if you do register and we talk to you, I will help you plan your travel. to make it easy for you, depending on what country you're coming from, how long you want to fly, which airport, and I will be willing to sit with you and figure out your flight plans, figure out how, and I will guide you to the venue from the airport. We have options. If you are coming in from outside India, especially if you're coming in from the US or somewhere where there is a time lag, we do make special arrangements on a case by case basis. So if you would like to come in, let's say a day early, not only to travel, but to get over your jet lag,
Mhm.
we will talk to the venue. The venue, I'm in touch with them. We make accommodations for all of that. We let you know what we can do and how to get here, all of that. So as far as your travel arrangements and staying arrangements are concerned, we do take care of that. We don't leave it entirely up to you to plan, especially people who are coming to India who've never been to India before. So guiding them, we would like you to know that a lot of Indians can speak English passably enough to communicate with you.
Mhm.
So you will not be stranded in the middle of nowhere. That we're very sure of. We do have people coming in from all over. The last convention that we organized was we had people from 15 different countries coming in, including somebody from Fiji, which was quite remarkable. We have regular people from the US coming in, so I can guide you on how you get there. Uh, who are the organizers? I'm going to go through your questions. How many people are going so far? We have plenty of room. The venue can hold up to 200 people. So
I
there's no
was just
shortage of
curious,
room.
how many are going so far? Like, do you have a 50
Well,
people?
we're hoping to get about 80 for the convention. We're hoping to get about 35, 40 for the mentoring and assessment. Usually there are less people at the mentoring and assessment program than there are at the convention. The convention has a lot more people who are just beginning their journeys, just fresh to NVC. They come in for that. And the organizers are Sudha, me, Biraj, and Deepankar. And there's one other person in the NVC Trust who helps us, but he is not able to join us today, called Pali. So, have you organized many events? I would say yes. We've organized quite a few now. Do we need help? Always. It depends on what kind of help you're willing to offer. We're always willing to take any help, especially with outreach. We cannot get enough outreach. So if you're willing to help with that, please, please, please get in touch with us. I'll be posting links closer to the end of the meeting. Is there a schedule posting? Yes, a schedule is decided, and then there's a beginning every day. There's a schedule. We do have planned meal times, and usually the schedule revolves around that. We will be sharing that closer and closer to, and as more and more people, as we have more confirmations, we'll be sharing the schedule with them, with the confirmed people. Yes, there.
I'd like to add something here. So the reason we don't present the schedule for all the days, that is all the offerings, is that there are requests that come in while midweek or in mid-session, and then we want to consider those requests and then tweak our offerings according to that. Please go ahead.
Okay. What I can tell you is the meal times are set, so we plan everything around meal times. That information we can provide you if and when you decide you want to come. Yes, there are shops nearby that you can walk to or take rickshaw. Absolutely. Mm, is the schedule packed? I would say if you're coming for both the mentoring and assessment and the convention, there will be a day in between, an evening and a morning where there's nothing going to be scheduled. So you will have time. If you're coming for only one event, then it tends to become a little bit more packed. Laundry is available, so you can put in your clothes in a laundry bag, leave it outside your room. It gets picked up, washed, ironed, and delivered to you. It is payable per item, and per item, I think it depends on what the item is. It ranges from, in dollars, it ranges from about 30 cents per item to about 50 cents per item. And it takes about 2 days for them to do the laundry. There is also a provision of you being able to do your own laundry if you carry laundry detergent with you. And there are wires outside your room to hang the laundry out to air dry if you would prefer to do some of your own. Towels and linens will be provided, so you don't have to carry those. You carry your own toiletries, of course.
And
And
medicines.
medicines, yes. And yes, it's quite a it's an area that gets a lot of rainfall, so we definitely recommend you carry an umbrella and very comfortable shoes. The terrain is not suited to any heels, I would say. Hiking shoes, walking shoes, sandals that will easily dry out are all good.
Torchlight.
Oh, yes. Well, phones usually have the torchlight, and most people use those. And it's well lit at night.
Mosquito repellent.
During the winter, well, a little bit maybe.
I think the list of things that you need to carry will be provided.
Yeah, will be provided.
Once you register.
And does that answer? I think I've gone through your questions. Is there anything else that's?
Yes, thank you so much. And yeah, the accommodations, like are there photos and what are they like? I'm trying to decide, would I be able to live with someone else or not? I know I'll save money, but I don't know like how big the rooms are, if it's 2 beds and attached bathroom or all the bathrooms are shared, all that stuff.
Okay, that I can answer. It is it's an ensuite bathroom with the wash basin outside.
Mhm.
So you have the facilities inside the bathroom, the wash area and the toilet, but the wash basin is outside. There are 2 beds in each room. Beds are separate.
Wash basin, is that the shower or?
No, it's outside the shower area.
So
No,
let's
what
say
is
it's
wash basin is to wash your hands. The
in the
sink.
room.
The sink
It's
to
in the
wash your hands.
room. Yeah. It's not outside your room, it's outside the
inside the room.
bathroom, in your room.
Right, but how many types of accommodations are there? I think there's a one person, like a private, and then there's shared
Yes.
and
Shared with one person and single. Basically, if you opt for a single room, it's the same room except you don't get a roommate.
okay, so it's 2 beds per room. Okay. And then the bathroom there's a private bathroom for that room?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, technically, the 2 bedrooms, the 2 beds can be converted to 4 beds. There are these bunk beds that are folded up and kept away. They only use the bunk beds when there are very young people coming in, so they can stuff more people in there. We don't do that for our events.
Okay. Thank you.
I will hang on just a second. You know what? I'm going to respond to your question. I'm going to put in a link in the chat. This is the website of the venue. So you can take a look. It's training space, and they have a lot of photos available of the venue itself, so you can see that.
And can I just, I would like to add a few words. I've been there a couple of times, and I find it an absolutely lovely venue. And it's just next to one of these big plateaus known as the Asia Plateau. And I also want to say something about the advantage for you coming from far away to get to train with other trainers than those that you already know. We like to talk about the cross-pollination between trainers and that we all have our own special flavor. So if you come to this event, you will be meeting 7 different flavors. And I cannot recommend highly enough what I have learned in India just by being there in a wonderful country full of magic and meeting people who seem to have much more easy access to the spirituality of NVC than when I work with people in Denmark, for example. There is of course, when we talk about nonviolent communication in Denmark, people say, "Do you think I'm violent?" You know. And in India, they say, nonviolent communication. Yes, of course, because there's a different tradition there. So I would love to see you there, if you can find your way across the big water. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kirsten. And I'd like to add, not just 7 trainers, at least 9, because Biraj and Deepankar are also trainers now.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention them. They are not on the poster, but they are there. They are present in the event. Yes. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah, that sounds really lovely. And my parents have actually stayed at the MRE Center. They're from Pune.
Oh, so you know the place.
I just know it through them that they stayed there, and it was really like serendipitous when, we saw that this is in Panchkani, and yeah, so very cool.
Yeah, so you can ask them about the mummy room, which is
The
wonderful.
mummy.
The mummy room is a wonderful room that is half circle and has a long tradition of nonviolent engagement with big topics in the world. So ask them about the mummy room.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think for me, like I really, really want to come. I have a strong yes in me that I should be coming to this. I think the scary part is just the war in Iran, and so the flight that I have to take, I can't go through Abu Dhabi. I mean, it's scarier if I do that, but those are the cheaper flights. So the other flights are a lot more expensive, like close to 3,000. And I know that they charge a lot more for the tuition for the people coming out of the country, but we have to pay for the flights. So I noticed there was a big difference in that tuition. So
Yes, I'm really, really sad that we have this war going on. It's so disruptive to everything. So are you in the US? Then tell your government to stop the war.
yeah, I wish they would listen.
Yes, yes, yes.
We could teach them a couple of things about listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
To add to that, Aru, my parents recently flew to the US and back and flew through Abu Dhabi. So I get what you're saying. And they were okay with it.
I think I'd be okay with it. My sister's like, do not go that way. So
Something else. How often are these NVC conventions held, and what inspires the idea of organizing them? They're held every year, Zena. And I think it will take a long time to say what inspires us. What inspires us? Read it, Deepankar. Vidur.
We can get Deepankar to say that on behalf of the trust. Deepankar?
I think he's busy.
So I can say what inspired me because I got involved in 2012 when the convention happened in Orissa, one of the poorest areas in India. And then I came back for convention every year. I think, was it 6 or 7 years in a row or something like that, or several years at least. And what inspires me is something about the mixture of the atmosphere in India where there is a flow and a spirituality and an easy get together for people from all over the world because living costs are cheaper in India. So to organize something in India at Indian prices is something that inspires me to bring NVC to more people. And the importance of international participants is that it brings this multicultural importance right in the room, that we learn to get along with each other no matter where in the world we are from. This inspires me again and again. And I'm happy to hear also Sudha, who has been with it for so long, and Biraj, Vidur. What inspires you?
Yeah, I can say, I think I consider myself coming to NBC rather late in life in terms of my age. And at that time, I wondered why I had not heard about it earlier. And I really want that more and more people become aware of this this thing called nonviolent communication. When there is so much of division in the world. So it's really, I think all of us decided to register a trust so that we could be a collective and it's not one single person holding it. The two main ideas were to see the spread of NVC in the country. Our dream, my dream and our dream, I think, is to be able to take the convention to different parts of India. There's still a lot of work to be done. And it's one of the missions in my life to be able to spread NVC as far as possible. We are a population of 1.6 billion, and we need many more trainers, and we need many more trainings in order to reach even a minuscule percentage of that. And so that's what inspires me to hold these conventions over and over again.
Yeah, I could say something to that. Well, started, I became part of the nonviolent communication community in Delhi long before I ever attended a convention for many reasons. I think it was about 6 years on that I went for the first time, and I think it was magical. And I think somebody was asking, Himali, you were asking earlier, what it is, because I think just being with everybody else and just finding that NVC is so precious anyway to me that in a convention, anywhere you go, you just encounter more and more little nuggets of NVC. And people who are practicing, people who are living NVC, they're so inspirational. And I think, yeah, in just those 5, 6 days of just letting everything be and just immersing oneself in the whole living NVC and living with people who are also practicing NVC. It's a very special feeling, and encourage more and more people to join in and participate, and anybody I come across. And in any of the sessions that I hold, just inviting more and more people to come and experience this 5-6 days of immersive experience of just being with people who practice NVC. Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to add in that it also gives a idea of what is possible. And I love that. And it is also incredibly fun. I really enjoy that too. And I'm known for basically scaring everyone when I start laughing out loud a lot. So you might get to hear that.
I can add one more thing that comes to my mind. I'm also motivated by the friendships I made in India. So now it's 13 years ago since I was there as a trainer in NVC, and I make friends for life there. And I came to India. It is my first trip to India is now 44 years ago, long before I learned NVC. But after 2012, it was NVC that was my connecting point. And I so enjoy the friends I made in India. We stay in touch over the long distance. So if you're up for that, this is a wonderful place to go. Thank you. I can add that I think I have about 5 minutes left before I need to go to something else here. So
Thank you for
anything
being
you
here,
want?
Kirsten.
Yes, you're welcome.
I don't have an answer to that, Aru, because that's a different program. So I'm not sure whether there are people going from here going there.
It was just interesting because it starts the very day after yours program.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, okay, maybe that was planned.
Any more questions? So I'm going to, Vidur, do you have any announcements? I just want to say that please do register, please avail of the early bird fee. And we're looking forward to having as many of you there as possible. I have been told time and again that the India convention is something else altogether. It's an experience not to be missed. And I completely second it. Umesh, you have a question?
Yeah, so sorry, okay, I have joined very late, so maybe it has been already answered. Okay, so there will be trainers, okay, certification candidates, and will there be regular folks? Okay, because I'm not a certification candidate. Okay, but I want to see the process and this. So, okay, so you have two parts. I can register for both parts.
Yeah. Welcome. We welcome you to both the parts.
Okay.
There will be other participants also who are not going through their certification process.
Okay.
Yeah.
But everybody will be familiar with NVC. Yeah.
That's what we think. And I wouldn't stop any person from coming in for the M&A either. There's no criterion as such.
If somebody is very new, doesn't know NVC or knows very little, okay, are they also welcome?
They are welcome. And it is for them to absorb as much. They won't be attending sessions that are, introductory sessions, etc. So I would just trust that they will take what they are able to take.
Thanks.
Before we leave, I'd like to post the link to the website where you can register.
Yeah, Zainab, I see your question. How do you measure the long-term impact of these conventions? And do you see participants carrying the principles of NVC back into their families, workplaces, or communities in a meaningful way? I think the very fact that we have returning participants who come, year after year, tells me that there is something of value that they are carrying back. But do we have data on, have we had any research done on what is the impact? We haven't yet. And I'm so looking forward to actually one of our certification candidates being tempted into examining that part, because I think he is doing some research on the impact, not on the conventions, but in other areas. So there is some research orientation happening. It's new to India, and I think somewhere it's very valuable. I hope that answers. Around NVC in the workplace, ask for it. Ask and you shall receive. Inshallah.
There are some trainers who work specifically on workspaces. Okay, so yeah, that's what. But
You see, ultimately, Umesh, it is about observations, feelings, needs, and requests. And then the scenario may change, and it's about applying it there. Yeah. So I'm sure that with the wisdom and this vast experience that the trainers have, you will find your answers.
Yeah. Can I add to that? I think Umesh
Yeah.
is more about learning to live NVC. And once you're living NVC, I mean, you can bring it to any space that you are in. And we don't really have to go by the book. That's who we are. We are NVC. We live NVC.
Thank you for staying on this little extra time. Bye-bye. And we really hope to see you there.